Hey everyone, this is the last Eldritch Moon draft on the channel. This is our weekly draft video. There's a new one up every Monday, and this is the last Eldritch Moon draft. Next week will be Kaladesh. So, if you haven't already entered into my Kaladesh giveaway, you should do so. I'll make sure there's an annotation on this for you to find that. But this pack's a pretty easy pick. I think it's just Dark Salvation. It's a pretty big bomb. I mean, even if you're only paying 5 mana, you're killing a 2/2 and getting two 2/2 zombies. Like, that's an amazing rate. And then in the late game, it just gets bonkers. The bad news is there are two pretty good black cards in this pack that's going to make someone else want to go black. Foul Emissary is also pretty good. It might go before these. But I don't think... Well, I think maybe Insatiable Gorgers is better than Certain Death, but there's not much else in this pack that's awesome. But we're still... You can splash Dark Salvation. I've done it before, and if that's what we do, I'm fine with it. It's a good card. Okay. So we started with a black card, and this pack's black cards are not exactly what you want to be seeing. There's also no, like, really awesome removal or anything in this pack. Don't love Campaign of Vengeance. Things really have to get there. And granted, I guess Dark Salvation plus Campaign of Vengeance is nice, but I don't think it's what I want to go for. It's just hard to make this deck work. You have to get all the token generators there are, and that's hard to make happen. Mercurial Geist is probably the best card in this pack, but again, you have to be in a deck that really makes it work. So what we're looking at here is, I don't even know, like most of this pack is pretty mediocre. Like there's two cards here who have pretty high ceilings, but really, really, really low floors in these two cards. And then there's a bunch of just like okay cards. I mean, it could just be the Shieldmate or the Guardian. They're both just, like, fine 2-drop and 3-drop. I think they're better than Woodland Patrol or Make Mischief. Into the Horde Swarm's good, but it's not, like, the most amazing of the Emerge guys. I think I'm going to go for the Shieldmate. It can be pretty good. You can at least, like, negate a card sometimes. That's nice. So Extricator of Sins is pretty nice. Gavinian Hallowed is okay. Grapple with the Past is a very good card if we're looking to hit Delirium. And there's a good chance Morn Willow comes back. Like, I've seen this guy go around a bunch of times, so it's worth thinking about Grapple. I do like Extricator of Sin as well, and it's also a card that likes to get Delirium. So it's either Grapple or Extricator. Well, and Deranged Whelp is a good card too, but I think it's either the Extricator or the Grapple. We just got to decide whether, like, the potential payoff, like, Morn Willow is not the most amazing card, but if we're pretty sure it's going to wheel, taking a Grapple with the Past isn't bad. And Grapple's even good when you don't have Delirium. Extricator's okay when you can't get Delirium, but if you're not good at getting Delirium, it's pretty bad. So I think I'm going to take the Grapple. Let's see what we get here. Okay, well, Blessed Alliance is good. Eternal Scourge is good. So is Dawngryff. I think we take the Alliance, although the Scourge is definitely worth thinking about. But the Alliance is removal. I like the Scourge a lot. I've played it a lot of times, and it's always just been like a good 3-drop that's kind of a nuisance for the opponent to deal with. But we'll take the removal spell. And you know, maybe we don't play Grapple. But I think I'm okay with that, because I like Blessed Alliance a fair amount. Okay. So here's a card to help us get Delirium if we end up black-white or black-green, but it's just so underwhelming otherwise. Ironclad Slayer is good if we can get some Boons of Emrakul's and some Deadweights and some choking restraints and things like that going. Olivia's Dragoon is fine. Yeah, this pack is not one I love. The Ghoul may just be the pick, as meh as that is. We don't have any real reason to get Delirium yet. I think I'm going to take the Slayer and just hope I get payoff for it, because the Slayer is pretty good. I guess we could end up white-green Delirium, too. It could be a thing. So Spectral Reserves is good. It's a card I like. I think I've noted that before on here, that I think it's kind of an underrated card. I'm usually happy to play one in a white deck. But there's also a Gnarlwood Dryad. But the question is, I mean, we could end up green-white Delirium and splash Dark Salvation. And I don't think that's a bad place to be. Gnarlwood Dryad's fail case is that it's Typhoid Rats, which is a good card. And then in the later game, it can be a real threat. And Spectral Reserves is good. It's especially good at getting you Delirium because it's a creature that's not a creature. You know, it counts as a sorcery, obviously. So yeah, I think we take the Dryad. Okay. So here's another Spectral Reserves. There's also a Backwoods Survivalists. Geist of the Lonely Vigil is okay, but not a card I love, although it is a little better if you want to be getting Apothecary Geists and stuff like that. It's nice to have. The Survivalists fail case is nice, and as is the Spectral Reserves. I think it's either the Backwoods or Spectral Reserves. The fail case for this is pretty bad. Like right now, we do have one Delirium Enabler, and maybe we pick up more. Yeah, I think I take the Survivalists. I like Reserves, but I don't think I like it more than I like Survivalists. Okay, well, we have a Primal Druid. We also have an Abundant Maw, which is worth looking at. Right now, we don't have any great things to sacrifice to it, though. Field Creeper is also worth looking at because of the fact that it's an artifact and a creature. I'm kind of leaning towards Primal Druid, though. For splashing, it's some decent fixing. And I think that's what I take over, like, Abundant Maw. It is good to sacrifice to Abundant Maw, but I think I want the fixing. And granted, it is harder to fix with it unless you have a deck that can sacrifice stuff, but typically you end up getting to block with it at some point or another, you know? Okay, Graph Rats. Terrarion is another card that can help us splash. It'll also be good if we get some Blood Briars. So I think I'm going to just take the Terrarion. It's just a decent card. It's also an artifact for Delirium. And we do have 2 cards already that are asking us to get Delirium. So, yeah, I'll take Terrarion here over the Swift Spinner. Okay, wow. Guess I should have been blue-red. Too bad I'm not in any one of those colors. Otherwise, I'd think about pivoting here. Now I think we just take Woodland Patrol. Don't love him, but, you know, he's a dude. Yeah, Thraben Standard Bearer. Fogwalker's probably the best card in this pack, but we'll take the Standard Bearer. I don't know if we play him. Chances don't seem great. I'm going to take Shreds away from someone, I guess. I mean, it doesn't we're doing a league here, so it doesn't really matter that I'm hate drafting, but there wasn't... We could have taken the Quarter's Shield, I guess, but I've never once sided it in, and I don't think I was going to be doing it. Here we'll take the on-color card on the off chance we somehow end up with a bunch of Eldrazi, but it's probably not going to happen. I think if you have 5 creatures with Emerge, it's worth playing, and I've been there before, and it was pretty good in that scenario. I mean, even if it just draws you like 4 cards, it's pretty solid. But I don't think we're going to get there with this particular deck. Looks like we're kind of green-white humans with a little bit of Delirium going on and splashing black for a huge bomb. So, and right now we have good fixing for the splash already, so I feel good about splashing it. And we have 1 good Delirium Enabler and 2 cards with Delirium. So it's a good idea to keep our eyes open for more cards with Delirium and more Enablers. We did... That Extricator of Sin would have ended up being pretty nice in our deck. But what are you going to do? Okay, so Crop Sigil is a good Delirium Enabler. But there's also Choking Restraints in this pack, and it's just better in basically every way. Boon of Emrakul is nice, too, if we end up... I mean, we could also splash it, theoretically, and then our Ironclad Slayer gets a little better. But splashing for the Boon and Dark Salvation may not be doable. We'll see. I think we just want Choking Restraints. I do like Crop Sigil as a Delirium Enabler, though, especially because sometimes when you're playing Delirium, you're like, oh, man, I milled that creature, and it can get it back for you once you hit Delirium. Kessig Prowler is also really good as well. So those are cards that I don't think are going to wheel that I wouldn't mind. But we're just going to take the Restraints. We need removal pretty badly. All we got is our Blessed Alliance at this point. Eldritch Evolution. It's an interesting one. Well, It of the Horde Swarm is a card. So is Midnight Scavengers. But again, I don't know if I want to be splashing more than 1 black card. So I think it's either Fiendbinder or It of the Horde Swarm. Eldritch Evolution's hard to make work, although I guess it's nice with Primal Druid, but that's about it. Yeah, Primal Druiding and searching up our Survivalist or something doesn't seem too terrible. So It of the Horde Swarm or Fiendbinder. Fiendbinder is a card that I do like, especially in an aggressive deck. I'm not sure that's what we're going to be at this point. It is a human. It of the Horde Swarm right now, we only have 1 really good thing to sacrifice to it. But in general, it's just a good card. Even when you have to sacrifice something you don't get value out of, I find it to be pretty good. I mean, it might be the worst of the Emerge dudes, but it's still pretty good. But I'm leaning towards Fiendbinder here, I think. Yeah, that's where we're going to go. Prey Upon. Okay. Does our deck have enough creatures to really take advantage of Prey Upon? I mean, maybe. It's probably what I take here. There's also Spectral Reserves, which I've mentioned I like, but Prey Upon's good. Haunted Dead's also really good. As is Curious Homunculus, of course, if you're in that deck. But yeah, I think we just take Prey Upon. Another removal spell. It's also a sorcery for Delirium. So, yeah, so Spectral Reserves, but we'll see. Man. Seems like we're getting cut pretty hard here. So, maybe I do just take an Abundant Maw now. Like, in terms of power level, it's definitely, like, really good, and we could splash for it. It's not... Again, it may be the second worst of the Emerge guys, because he doesn't get you a card back the way most of them do. Spreading Flames is also good, and is a card we could also think about splashing, but Dark Salvation is just better. So I'm leaning towards the Maw here. And we could splash the Maw, I guess is what my point is, because you can also hard cast it, and it's a later play. Although Spreading Flames is too, but we already have one good black card. So yeah, we're just going to take the Maw here. The Maw is abundant, after all. So... not loving our deck so far. Crop Sigil is something I think we do want, though. Another Terrarion wouldn't hurt, but I'm taking the Sigil. We're probably going to pick up more Delirium in the next pack. We already have 2 reasons to want it that are reasonable, and the Sigil is just good at getting back like an Abundant Maw or whatever. Yeah, so we're gonna take the Sigil. We have a lot of 1-drops, man. I don't know that we're playing Thraben Standard Bearer, but maybe. It does help you get Delirium also. Okay, Dawn Griff's probably just what we take here. Just a nice little 3-drop. Yeah, that's what we take. Windrake is always a good card. Well, there's probably some limited format where it's not, but it's not this one. I mean, we're definitely playing 4 of our 1-drops. The Standard Bearer may get cut, but the other 4, I don't think will get cut. Another Crop Sigil. Another Ironclad Slayer, but we don't have any enchantment-based removal. We could pick some more up, but I think I just take another Crop Sigil. And we may try really hard to go Delirium in our next pack. Like, that's where we're going to pick up most of the payoffs, so I'm going to try to make that work. I think that's the only way to sort of salvage this deck, which hasn't gone super well, I have to say, so far. But we could get there. We now have 3 good Delirium enablers, so any card with Delirium on it is much better in our deck than in most people's. Wow, Savage Alliance is around this late? Man, kind of feel like I should be splashing red. I could take it and see if I can try to swing also splashing red. I mean, it's a good card. It's worth splashing for. I mean, nothing else in this pack. We could take a good sideboard card. And maybe that's worth taking over Savage Alliance, which there's no guarantee we can play. Yeah, we'll take the good sideboard card. 3rd Crop Sigil. I don't know if I want 3. I think maybe now it's just Field Creeper. Yeah. It is. I don't think you want 3 Crop Sigils. Especially, I mean, if we had more reasons to desperately want Delirium, we might want 3 Crop Sigils, but I can't guarantee that's going to happen. All right, Into the Horde Swarm came back, and I think we do take it now. I might just play it over Abundant Maw. It's easier for our deck to cast, and I think it's almost as good as Abundant Maw. You know, it might even be better because it does sort of replace the card you sacrifice at least. We didn't get any Bloodbriars, sadly. Another Emrakul's Influence. No, thank you. I think we'll take Wolfkin Bond now. I don't know that we're going to play it. You have to end up with a lot of creatures for it to be good. But it is an aura I've played one of on numerous occasions in this format and been fine with it. You definitely have to wait for your opponent to tap out or you're in big trouble. But other than that, it's pretty good. We'll take the Cultist Staff. It's a decent piece of equipment. I think we probably need more creatures, and we'll take a Foil Thirsting Axe. That one we're not playing. And we got another good sideboard card, so maybe I should have taken that Savage Alliance. Ever After. That's on our colors, but it's not exactly a card that our deck really wants right now. Angelic Purge is really good. It helps us get Delirium, its removal, and so forth. I wouldn't mind wielding a Moldgraf Scavenger. Solitary Hunter's good, and I wouldn't mind wheeling a Fork in the Road either. I think we just take Purge, though. It's just a really good removal spell, and that's something our deck needs. So we'll take it. So there's an Apothecary Geist. We have a few spirits, don't we? Maybe? No. We don't. Wow. Oh, Drog's Call. We have 1. We do have 1. Thraben Inspector's solid. Unruly Mob's fine. Apothecary Geist. I think we just want Solitary Hunter, though. He's just a better creature than they are. I do like the Geist, though. Wouldn't mind getting it back. And we might. Mob's probably more likely, though. But yeah, we'll take Solitary Hunter here. Okay, well, Kessig Direswine's a nice finisher when you can get Delirium, and I think our deck can. There's also another solid piece of equipment in Neglected Heirloom. But I don't think I want to take it over a good finisher like Direswine. There's a solid chance we still see another Direswine is the thing. But there's no guarantee that we do. And the Heirloom, while good, like our deck has one dude who can transform at this point, so it's not incredible. Yeah, it's either the Swine or the Heirloom here. I don't think there's really another card in there. I mean, I love Stitched Mangler, but obviously we're not blue. So, Dire Swine or Neglected Heirloom. Yeah, I'm going to go for the creature. We're kind of low on them. Probably cutting this guy now. Man, why aren't we splashing blue? Byway Courier's solid. I think that's what we take here. Strength of Arms. We do have one piece of equipment. I don't think that's enough for us to want it, though. I think the Courier's just better. Investigating and whatnot is pretty good. Another artifact creature wouldn't hurt, but the Courier's just too much better. Too much better? Is that even proper English? So Abyssinian Missionaries is a reason to want equipment, that's for sure. This pack has a lot of like playable cards in it for our deck. Like Abyssinian Missionaries, if we had like 2 pieces of equipment would be way better, but there's no guarantee. Well, I guess we could. No, we don't want to be running that. I don't think. It would be pretty nice combo with Abyssinian Missionaries, but yeah, I don't think we want to do that. Silver Strike is a good removal spell, though it's conditional. Cult of the Waxing Moon's a 5-mana 5/4 who will occasionally make a wolf token. Clip Wings is a good sideboard card. This helps us splash, which is something we want to be doing. But I don't think I want to take it. I think we're okay on splashing. I probably need to run like 2 swamps at this point. I think I'm just going to take the Silver Strike. Be conditional removal or not, it's still removal that can kill any creature. Well, we do have a lot of humans, so the Cathar is really attractive. I like the Logger too, but I think in this deck, the human element might be better. We got Ironclad Slayer, Byway Courier, Woodland Patrol, Solitary Hunter, Backwoods Survivalists. Yeah, that's enough. I think we want to be pumping our humans if we can. Warped Landscape's another way to help us splash, but I don't think I want to take it. Wouldn't mind getting a Logger or a Provisioner still, but the Cathar is really good. Primal Druid, also a human. Yeah, you know, with the Druid, our deck isn't super awesome at splashing. At least we can sacrifice it to Angelic Purge, I guess, but... Ooh, Ulvenwald Mysteries. Man, there's another good piece of equipment, but I love Ulvenwald Mysteries. It's just such a stupid engine in this format, and if you get it in play and really get it going, it's really hard to lose. And a card like that is a card I can't pass. Even though True Face Sensor would be really good in our deck, I think Ulvenwald Mysteries will be too. Also makes human tokens, for whatever that's worth. So, we definitely need to do some trimming. Might just be like Id of the Horde Swarm. Cultist Staff too, potentially. Maybe. Yeah. What else? You guys all seem good. Woodland Patrol's not incredible, but I kind of need the creatures, and it's also a human. We have one card that cares about that, so it's worth mentioning. Grapple and Blessed Alliance. I mean, maybe it's Primal Druid and we hope we find another way to fix, because Primal Druid isn't as good once we can't easily sacrifice it. So, yeah, I think we want both Crop Sigils. Wow, Prized Amalgam, huh? Wow, this pack is not good for us. Prized Amalgam worth anything? It was for a while, but I kind of doubt it is since it's still here. Stitchwing Scob's obviously really good. Probably the best card in the pack. The Arsonists are also good. Keeps feeling like red should be a color I was in based on the stuff we've been seeing. Wow, MTGO Traders is being slow. Maybe I just take Runaway Carriage. I mean, we don't even have a card in our color. I'll probably just take the rare. I can't, my thing isn't loading to tell me what it's worth, but we'll take it. Fork in the Road, there we go. That's a better way to fix anyway. We'll take it. Unruly Mob, sure. I don't know if you'll make it, but you seem fine. I think we kind of want to try to up our creature count where we can. But that may not really be something we can do easily. We'll just have to see. Yeah, so what would we trim? Equestrian Skill or Militant Inquisitor. I think we take the skill. Like if we play someone without any sideboard, that card is without any good removal. I mean, it's a good card to come out of our sideboard. I think I'll take Wicker Witch and probably play it over Field Creeper. Field Creeper is a 2-drop though, something we don't have a ton of. Wicker Witch is marginally better with Prey Upon, although you're going to get 2 for 1, obviously, but she can at least kill more stuff. Yeah. Alright, Loam Dryad too. I feel good about that in terms of fixing. Maybe we don't even want Terrarion now, although the artifactness of it is good. I think I'm going to cut Wicker Witch though now. I don't know. There's definitely some trimming that needs to be done here. And 14 creatures is a nice number. Wow, I guess nobody had any werewolves. We certainly don't. This is definitely the most 1-drops I've ever drafted in this format. Maybe in any format. And a mountain. So I think we want Loam Dryad, Terrarion, and Fork in the Road to help us splash for Dark Salvation. That way we can only run 1 swamp and we're good. And we feel fine about it. So our mana will be a lot more consistent because of it. And we do have the downside of maybe we mill our 1 swamp, but we do have Crop Sigil to get it back, and we have Terrarion and Loam Dryad who can produce that color anyway. So okay, group creatures separately. Love Ulvenwald Mysteries, and it's part of the reason I want to have as many creatures as possible, because if you don't have a ton of creatures, it's not nearly as good. But I just don't really want to cut anything down here either. I also don't really want to cut any of my creatures, though. I mean, I guess maybe Silver Strike is worth cutting. It's clunky, it's big, it's obvious you're going to use it. So in terms of removal, it's not the best. We're definitely not cutting Dark Salvation or Grapple or either Crop Sigil. I mean, we could think about cutting Prey Upon. We have 1, 2, 3 creatures who I would say are good with it. And we do have better removal around in the form of Blessed Alliance, Angelic Purge, and Choking Restraints and Dark Salvation. So yeah, I think that's what we do. I think we want to hold on to as many creatures as we can. Maybe now we have to cut one, but because I don't know if I want to cut any of the rest of these. I think we want to hold on to Delirium. We have 2, 3 creatures who care about it, and 2 of them can turn into finishers once you have Delirium, so I think that's relevant. I mean, maybe it's worth cutting to 1 Crop Sigil, but it itself has Delirium, and when you play it and you already have Delirium, it's a pretty good card. You know, pay 4 mana, get back a land, and your best creature from your graveyard isn't the worst thing in the world. Especially when you have like Ulvenwald Mysteries and stuff. So we gotta trim 1 more card. And I don't think it should be Dark Salvation. Maybe it's just like Unruly Mob. I mean, our worst creature is definitely Wicker Witch. How easily do we get Delirium without Wicker Witch? We have 1 artifact, but then we also have 3 enchantments. We have 1. We just have 2 we have 2 instants. Then obviously we have lands and creatures, and we have sorceries as well. So I think I can probably lose Wicker Witch. It's probably my worst creature. Like Loam Dryad helps us splash and ramp, which isn't irrelevant. Gnarlwood Dryad turns into a threat and can trade with anything. So yeah, I think this is our deck. It's not like the ideal deck for Ulvenwald Mysteries. Like usually you want like 18 creatures with that, but we have strong removal that can sort of back it up, and Ulvenwald Mysteries will draw us into it. So that's one way of looking at it. So let's sort by color real quickly. All right, so yeah, we don't need Primal Druid really anymore between Terrarion. Do we just have Terrarion and Fork? And Loam Dryad. No, we don't need it. We do not, but we think we want to go 9/7 here. Yeah. All right. All right, I think this is our deck. Man, our deck would have been so good with Bloodbriar. I mean, maybe not so good, but we have 2 Crop Sigils that would have pumped it. We have the Terrarion. And we also have Angelic Purge. So we never saw one really at a reasonable point anyway. All right, this will be the deck. See you guys in the first match. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.